The gentle hum of the Stellar Seeker's engines provided a soothing backdrop as senior astronomer Zix 427 conducted her routine stellar survey. Her 4 appendages moved with practiced efficiency across the sensor controls, each motion refined by decades of experience mapping the galaxy's countless stars. The ship's advanced instruments painted a detailed picture of yet another solar system on their charted route. Something wasn't right. Her primary sensory tentacles twitched as she reviewed the data streaming across her screens. The star at the center of this system showed clear signs of instability, subtle fluctuations in its core that her people had learned to recognize as precursors to stellar death. Yet the electromagnetic spectrum was cluttered with artificial signals, suggesting a thriving civilization. "Computer, verify these readings," she commanded, her translator converting her harmonic tones into the ship's standard interface language. The response came immediately, confirming what she already knew. An advanced technological society existed on the 3rd planet of this system. Zix 427 initiated a more detailed scan, her confusion growing with each new data point. The planet's inhabitants hadn't just survived. They had flourished. Orbital stations dotted the space around their world, and satellites formed intricate networks extending toward the inner planets. Most astonishing of all, several large structures orbited the star itself, deliberately placed in harm's way. "First Officer Nen, please join me in the observatory," she called through the ship's communication system. Within moments, the door whispered open, admitting her longtime colleague and friend. "What have you found?" Nen asked, his crystalline form refracting the soft light of the observatory. "Evidence that challenges everything we believe about civilizational development," Zix 427 replied, gesturing to the main display. "This species has achieved space travel, quantum computing, and possibly even fusion power, all while living beside a star that could destroy them within the next 1,000 cycles." Nen's crystalline structure pulsed with shock as he absorbed the information. Impossible. No species would choose to remain in such danger. Perhaps they're unaware. A new burst of data scrolled across the screen. Detailed measurements of the star's core, broadcast from one of the orbital structures. Zix 427 translated the figures quickly, her surprise deepening. No, they're aware. In fact, they're studying it. These readings, they're more detailed than our own stellar sciences could produce. The 2 aliens stood in silence, watching as more information poured in. The planet's networks were surprisingly open, broadcasting everything from scientific data to entertainment signals. They learned that the species called themselves humans, and their star was named Sol. "We have to report this to the Council," Nen finally said, his voice carrying the weight of protocol. "This is beyond our authority as a survey vessel." Zix 427 nodded in agreement, but her attention remained fixed on the displays. Something about these humans fascinated her. Their cities showed no signs of panic, no evidence of a civilization preparing to flee. Instead, she saw signs of permanent infrastructure, long-term scientific projects, and cultural celebrations that spoke of a species planning for a future right where they were. "Begin composing the report," she instructed, her voice thoughtful. "But include my personal observation. I don't believe these humans are trapped here. They've chosen to stay." As Nen left to prepare their findings, Zix 427 continued studying the broadcasts. She watched vehicles moving through the streets of their cities, observed their orbital habitats rotating peacefully, and monitored their countless solar observation platforms. These humans had done more than survive. They had transformed their relationship with danger into a source of strength. For the first time in her long career as a stellar cartographer, Zix 427 found herself wondering if perhaps her people had been wrong about what made a star system suitable for civilization. As she prepared for the inevitable emergency council session, she couldn't help but feel that she was witnessing not just a discovery, but the beginning of a profound change in galactic understanding. The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council hummed with tense energy as representatives from 100 worlds debated humanity's fate. Holographic displays filled the dome-shaped room with images of Earth, its cities gleaming under the light of their unstable star. Senior astronomer X427 stood at the center platform, her tentacles steady as she presented her findings for the third time in as many days. The humans have developed a remarkable understanding of stellar physics, she explained, projecting a new series of data streams. Their monitoring systems track solar activity with precision that exceeds our own standards. They've established predictive models that. The question isn't about their scientific achievements, interrupted Counselor Vex, his crystalline form flashing with agitation. We're here to discuss evacuation protocols. A species this advanced shouldn't be left to perish due to their own stubbornness. First Contact Specialist Cree moved forward, her hovering platform casting a soft glow. With respect, Counselor, we cannot simply demand that an entire civilization abandon their homeworld. The cultural implications alone. The chamber erupted in overlapping voices and harmonic debates. Some called for immediate intervention, others insisted on extended observation, and a few suggested leaving the humans to their chosen fate. The cacophony grew until Chief Counselor Marin's resonant tone cut through the chaos. Silence, she commanded, her bioluminescent patterns pulsing with authority. While we debate, a new variable has emerged. Senior astronomer, share the latest development. X427 adjusted the holographic display, revealing a new data stream. 17 minutes ago, our cloaking systems detected an active scan from Earth. Their deep space sensors are more sophisticated than we anticipated. They know we're here. The chamber fell silent. In all the Council's history of first contact scenarios, no species had detected them before they chose to reveal themselves. As the implications sank in, a new message appeared in the display. Greetings, visitors. We've been monitoring your presence for the past 3 days. Perhaps it's time we talked. The message was transmitted in perfect galactic standard, accompanied by detailed coordinates for a suggested meeting point on their moon. The council chamber erupted once again, but this time in astonishment. They decoded our language from our ship's passive emissions. Counselor Vex's crystalline surface rippled with disbelief. In 3 days. Kree's analysis platform whirred as she processed the implications. This changes everything. They're not just surviving near an unstable star, they're thriving. Their technological advancement suggests a level of innovation we hadn't considered possible in such conditions. Chief Counselor Marin rose from her seat, her ancient form towering over the assembly. It seems the humans have made our decision for us. They offer friendship while demonstrating capabilities that warrant our respect. First Contact Specialist Cree, assemble your team. Senior Astronomer X427, you'll join them. Your experience with this system will be valuable. As the chamber began to empty, X427 studied the human message again. The coordinates they provided showed an impressive understanding of celestial mechanics, accounting for variables that spoke of deep astronomical knowledge. These weren't the actions of a species desperately clinging to a doomed world. This was the confident outreach of a civilization that understood its place in the cosmos. They're going to surprise us, Cree said, approaching the platform. I can feel it. X427's tentacles rippled in agreement. They already have. Did you notice the message's timestamp? They sent it precisely when our council session was scheduled to end. They've been watching us as carefully as we've been watching them. As the diplomatic team prepared for humanity's first official contact, X427 couldn't help but wonder what other surprises awaited them. The humans had transformed what her people saw as a deadly curse into an opportunity for advancement. Perhaps, she thought, living under the constant reminder of their star's mortality had given them a perspective on existence that the Council's species had never needed to develop. The next few days would reveal whether humanity's unique path had led them to wisdom or recklessness. Either way, the galaxy would never be quite the same. The Lunar Embassy Center sparkled like a diamond against the moon's gray surface, its transparent dome offering an unobstructed view of both Earth and the controversial star at the heart of this diplomatic mission. First contact specialist Cree found herself mesmerized by the sight of the blue planet hanging in space, while senior astronomer Zix 427 couldn't take her sensors off the sun's roiling surface. "Welcome to humanity's front porch," Dr. Sarah Chen said, breaking the silence with a warm smile. The human scientist stood confidently before the alien delegation, her silver-streaked hair and laugh lines suggesting both age and good humor. "We thought you might appreciate a neutral meeting ground with a good view of the subject at hand." The delegation's universal translators handled her words perfectly. Another sign of how thoroughly humans had analyzed their visitors' communications. Behind Dr. Chen stood a diverse group of human representatives, scientists, diplomats, and what they called cultural attaches. "Your facility is unexpected," Cree admitted, her hovering platform adjusting to the lunar gravity. "We didn't anticipate such permanent structures on your satellite." Dr. Chen gestured toward a holographic display that sprang to life in the center of the room. The Lunar Embassy Center was actually built as part of our solar observation network. The moon provides an excellent stable platform for our more sensitive instruments. The display filled with streams of data, temperature readings, magnetic field fluctuations, core pressure measurements, and dozens of other metrics that Zix 427 recognized as advanced stellar diagnostics. Some of the measurement techniques were entirely new to her. "Your star," she began, her tentacles moving with scientific curiosity. "You monitor it with remarkable precision." "We've had to." Another human scientist stepped forward, introducing himself as Dr. Marcus Williams. "Living next to a temperamental neighbor means keeping a very close eye on their mood swings." The casual way he referred to their dangerous star caused ripples of discomfort among the alien delegation, but Cree noticed something interesting. The humans didn't speak with bravado or denial. There was a pragmatic acceptance in their tone that suggested deep understanding rather than reckless disregard. "Perhaps," Dr. Chen suggested, "you'd like to see how we've learned to live with our sun." The observation deck offers an excellent view of today's solar prominence display. The alien delegation followed her through curved corridors, lined with screens showing real-time solar data. Each display was accompanied by simple explanations intended for what humans called public education. Another surprise to the visitors. They didn't hide the star's instability from their general population. They taught them to understand it. The observation deck stretched out before them, a semicircle of transparent panels that seemed to float in space. As they watched, a massive solar prominence arced from the sun's surface, its plasma trail dancing against the black of space. "Beautiful, isn't it?" Dr. Chen's voice carried genuine appreciation. "That prominence is releasing energy equivalent to 1,000 hydrogen bombs per second, but our forecasting systems predicted its formation 3 hours ago. Every burst of energy, every fluctuation, helps us understand our star better." Zix 427 noticed something peculiar in the data scrolling across nearby screens. "These readings, you're not just monitoring the star, you're learning from it." "Exactly," Dr. Williams nodded enthusiastically. "Each instability teaches us something new about stellar physics. We've developed technologies we might never have conceived if our sun were more stable. Necessity breeds innovation, after all." As if to emphasize his point, a new alert flashed across the screens. The prominence was shifting, its magnetic field intensifying. Before any of the alien delegates could react with alarm, they watched the humans calmly adjust their instruments, their movements practiced and precise. "Don't worry," Dr. Chen assured them, noting their concern. "Our warning systems give us plenty of time to respond to solar events. In fact, would you like to see how we've turned our star's energy into one of our greatest resources?" Cree and Zix 427 exchanged glances. With each passing moment, it became clearer that they weren't here to save humanity from their star. They were here to learn how humanity had mastered living with it. The transport vessel descended through Mercury's thin exosphere, its heat shields glowing softly against the planet's eternal sunset. First Contact Specialist Cree pressed her appendage against the viewport, fascinated by the stark beauty of the cratered surface. Behind her, Senior Astronomer Zix 427 was engrossed in sensor readings that seemed impossible. "The entire planet is instrumented," she whispered, her tentacles twitching with scientific excitement. They turned Mercury into one massive solar laboratory. Dr. Chen nodded from her pilot's seat. "Welcome to Project Helios, our closest observation post to the Sun, and humanity's most ambitious scientific endeavor to date." The vessel touched down inside a vast hangar carved deep into Mercury's crust. As the airlock cycled, Dr. Williams explained, "The facility extends 12 kilometers beneath the surface. We use the planet's mass as a natural radiation shield." The alien delegation followed their human hosts through corridors that thrummed with power. The walls themselves seemed alive, covered in displays showing real-time data from millions of sensors embedded throughout the solar system. "This is the heart of our stellar monitoring network," Dr. Chen explained, leading them into a vast, circular chamber. "We call it the Prediction Hub." The chamber was dominated by a massive holographic representation of their sun, showing layers of magnetic fields, plasma flows, and energy gradients in stunning detail. Human scientists moved around the display, adjusting parameters and monitoring readouts with practiced efficiency. "Impossible," one of the alien scientists muttered. "The computational power required to model a star at this resolution would be tremendous," Dr. Williams finished with a smile. "That's why we developed quantum neural networks specifically for solar computation. Traditional computing couldn't handle the complexity." Zix 427 moved closer to one of the data streams, her scientific training helping her grasp the implications. "You're not just modeling current conditions, you're predicting solar behavior at the quantum level." "Exactly," Dr. Chen confirmed. "We can forecast major solar events hours or even days in advance. It's the difference between reacting to danger and preparing for it." The holographic display shifted, zooming in on a developing sunspot. The human scientists adjusted their models, and predictions for the next solar cycle appeared in glowing trajectories. But why? Cree finally asked the question that had been bothering her since their arrival. Why invest such tremendous resources in understanding a star that could ultimately destroy you? Dr. Chen's expression grew thoughtful. "Because it's not just about survival. Each breakthrough in understanding our sun leads to advances in other fields. Our quantum computing breakthroughs came from trying to model solar plasma dynamics. Our fusion technology evolved from studying solar processes. Even our medical scanning technology benefits from techniques we developed to peer into the sun's core." As if to demonstrate, a new alert flashed across the displays. A complex pattern of magnetic fields was forming deep within the sun. The human scientists calmly adjusted their instruments, and the alien delegation watched in amazement as the facility's systems predicted the exact path and intensity of the resulting solar flare hours before it would occur. "You see," Dr. Williams explained, "living next to an unstable star forced us to excel. We couldn't just survive. We had to understand. Every threat became an opportunity to learn. Every challenge pushed us to innovate." The holographic display shifted again, showing the network of satellites and monitoring stations stretching from Mercury to beyond Earth's orbit. Each point of light represented a human achievement, a step toward mastering their relationship with their temperamental star. "We're not just studying the sun," Dr. Chen said softly, her eyes reflecting the glow of the holographic star. "We're learning to dance with it. Every flare, every prominence, every magnetic storm teaches us something new about the universe. And the more we learn." She paused as another set of predictions scrolled across the screens, each one more detailed than any stellar science the aliens had ever seen. "The more we realize that what others see as a danger, we see as our greatest teacher." The observation deck of Singapore's Solar Academy, offered a stunning view of the city's adaptive architecture. Buildings shifted their smart glass surfaces continuously, responding to solar conditions with microscopic adjustments that transformed entire facades from reflective to absorptive in seconds. First contact specialist Cree watched in fascination as the cityscape seemed to ripple like a living organism. "Your entire civilization has adapted to solar rhythms," she observed, her hovering platform adjusting to keep her at eye level with Dr. Chen. "Even your architecture dances with the light." "We had to adapt," Dr. Chen replied, gesturing toward a class of young students entering the academy's main hall below. "But more importantly, we chose to embrace it. Watch this. It's my favorite part of the tour." The children, no more than 10 Earth years old, gathered around a massive holographic display similar to the one on Mercury, though simplified for educational purposes. Their teacher, a young woman with bright eyes and enthusiastic gestures, began the lesson. "Today's solar activity forecast shows a Level 3 prominence event," she announced, her voice carrying clearly through the observation deck's audio feeds. "Who can tell me what that means for our city's defense grid?" Hands shot up immediately, eager voices calling out answers about magnetic shield alignments and radiation protocols. The alien delegation watched in amazement as children discussed complex solar physics with the casual ease of talking about weather patterns. "They're so young," senior astronomer Zix427 noted, her tentacles curling with surprise. "Yet they understand stellar dynamics that our scientists spend years mastering." Dr. Williams smiled proudly. "They grow up with it. Just as children in coastal regions learn to read the tides, our children learn to read the sun. It's part of their daily life." The tour continued through the Academy's halls, where artwork created by students lined the walls. Paintings, sculptures, and digital displays all celebrated the relationship between humanity and their star. One particularly striking piece showed Earth and the Sun as dance partners, locked in an eternal waltz of light and shadow. "Your people don't just survive here," Cree realized, studying the artwork. "You've built an entire culture around your star's nature." Their next stop was a public plaza where a crowd had gathered to watch the day's prominence event through specially designed viewers. The atmosphere was festive, with vendors selling refreshments and children wearing playful hats designed to mimic solar flares. "We call these solar celebration days," Dr. Chen explained as they observed the crowd. "When our predictive models show particularly spectacular solar activity, people gather to watch. We've turned potential disaster into public education and entertainment." A cheer went up from the crowd as the prominence became visible, its massive arc of plasma drawing gasps of appreciation. Parents lifted children onto shoulders, pointing out features and explaining the physics behind the display. Scientists mingled with the crowd, answering questions and sharing their enthusiasm. "But surely you have emergency protocols," one of the alien delegates asked, still struggling to reconcile this casual attitude with the potential dangers. "Of course," Dr. Williams responded, leading them toward a nearby building. "Every structure has built-in shelter areas. Every citizen knows exactly what to do in case of an unexpected event. But knowledge has replaced fear. Here, let me show you something remarkable." They entered what appeared to be a normal office building, but Dr. Williams led them to a sub-level that housed a remarkable facility. Screens lined the walls, showing real-time data from the solar monitoring network, but simplified for public consumption. "This is one of our neighborhood response centers," he explained. "Every district has one. Citizens can come here anytime to check solar conditions, update their personal safety plans, or just learn more about our star. We found that transparency and education are our best defenses against panic." "Your species continues to surprise us," Cree admitted, watching as a group of elderly humans attended a voluntary class on recent solar research developments. "You've turned what we saw as a cosmic curse into a source of unity and progress." "That's humanity for you," Dr. Chen smiled, as another cheer erupted from the crowd outside. "Give us a challenge, and we'll find a way to not just overcome it, but to grow because of it. The warning chimes echoed through the Singapore Solar Academy. With a melodic urgency, it sent the alien delegation into momentary panic. First contact specialist Kree's hovering platform wobbled as she instinctively moved away from the windows, while senior astronomer X427's tentacles coiled tightly against her body. Dr. Chen, however, merely glanced at her wrist display and raised an eyebrow. "Well, this is fortunate timing. You're about to witness our emergency protocols in action." The massive holographic display in the Academy's central atrium shifted to show a complex pattern of magnetic fields erupting from the sun's surface. The prominence they had been casually observing minutes earlier had evolved into something far more significant. "Status report." Dr. Williams spoke into his communicator, his voice calm but focused. The response came immediately, broadcast through the Academy's public address system. Mercury Station confirms a Class X solar event developing in Sector 7. Magnetic field intensity exceeding normal parameters. Estimated Earth impact in 47 minutes. To the aliens' astonishment, there was no panic. The students they had observed earlier were already moving in organized groups, following their teachers' directions with practiced ease. Through the windows, they could see the city's buildings responding, their smart glass surfaces shifting to maximum protection settings. "Shouldn't we evacuate to a shelter?" one of the alien delegates asked, their crystalline form flickering with anxiety. "No need," Dr. Chen assured them. "The Academy is already a designated shelter. But please, watch. This is humanity's solar defense network in full operation." The holographic display split into multiple views, showing the entire solar system. A wave of adjustments rippled through humanity's network of satellites and stations, each taking up precise positions like pieces on a cosmic chessboard. The Mercury array is already adjusting to compensate for the increased magnetic pressure, Dr. Williams explained, pointing to the innermost ring of defensive satellites. "Our quantum predictive models are calculating the optimal shield configurations." Through the windows, they could see Singapore's massive solar shields deploying above the city, their energy-dispersing surfaces glowing softly as they powered up. Similar reports came in from cities around the globe, each one confirming their readiness with calm efficiency. "Your entire planet is responding," X427 observed, her scientific curiosity overcoming her initial fear. "Every system, every city, moving in perfect coordination. We've had plenty of practice." Dr. Chen smiled, leading them to a more detailed monitoring station. "Each event teaches us something new, helps us refine our responses. Watch this." The display showed the solar flare's evolution in real time. The aliens watched in fascination as human scientists made minute adjustments to their defensive grid, not just blocking the incoming energy, but actually channeling it. "You're harvesting the energy?" Kree asked incredulously. "Even during an emergency?" "Especially during an emergency," Dr. Williams confirmed. "These events produce extraordinary amounts of power. Our collectors are designed to handle it safely. It would be wasteful not to use it." The next 40 minutes demonstrated the full extent of human preparation. Cities across the globe reported their status, each one ready and calm. The orbital stations adjusted their positions with precision, their crews working in perfect synchronization with ground control. When the solar storm finally hit Earth's vicinity, it met a planet prepared. The defense grid lit up like a second sun as it absorbed and redirected the massive energy burst. In Singapore, the only sign of the event was a spectacular light show in the upper atmosphere, which the students watched through specially designed windows, taking notes and making observations. All systems performing within expected parameters, the public address system announced. Solar event successfully managed. Collection arrays at 87% capacity and rising. Well done, everyone. Dr. Chen turned to their stunned visitors with a gentle smile. And that, my friends, is how humanity dances with our star. Every step choreographed, every movement practiced, until what others see as disaster becomes just another movement in our cosmic ballet. Cree and 6427 exchanged glances. They had come to warn humanity about their star, but instead, humanity had shown them what true adaptation looked like. It wasn't about avoiding danger. It was about learning to thrive within it. In the aftermath of the solar event, the alien delegation gathered in the Singapore Solar Academy's Analysis Center. Holographic displays showed the successful energy collection figures, while teams of scientists eagerly processed data from their latest stellar encounter. First contact specialist Cree found herself drawn to a wall of historical photographs, each marking a milestone in humanity's journey to master their star. Your earliest solar studies were conducted with primitive optical telescopes, she observed, moving along the timeline. Yet within mere centuries, you've achieved what our civilizations never even attempted. Dr. Chen joined her at the display, pointing to a key image from the mid-21st century. This was the turning point. When other species might have begun planning evacuation, we decided to invest everything into understanding our star instead. Senior astronomer 6427 manipulated a series of data streams with her tentacles, comparing the recent solar event readings with her own species' stellar research. Your methods are unorthodox. You've developed entirely new branches of physics to solve problems we never dared to approach. Necessity breeds innovation, Dr. Williams replied, pulling up a detailed analysis of their quantum shielding technology. Each challenge our star presented pushed us to think differently. Take our planetary defense grid, for example. The basic principles came from studying how our sun's magnetic fields interact with plasma. The displays shifted to show the complex network of satellites and stations that had so efficiently protected Earth during the recent event. But now, seeing it through the lens of understanding rather than fear, the alien delegates noticed something remarkable. These aren't just defensive installations, one of their scientists realized. They're crystalline form pulsing with excitement. Each component serves multiple purposes: research, power collection, communication. Exactly, Dr. Chen smiled. We couldn't afford to build separate systems for everything, so we learned to integrate. Our solar monitoring network doubles as a faster-than-light communication system. Our defense grid powers half the planet's energy needs. Even our predictive models have applications in everything from weather forecasting to medical diagnosis. Cree's hovering platform moved closer to a display showing the quantum computing cores that powered humanity's solar prediction systems. You've achieved computational densities that our scientists theorized were impossible. How? By necessity, Dr. Williams explained, bringing up the technical specifications. Traditional computing couldn't handle the complexity of stellar physics, so we had to develop something new. The quantum neural networks we created to predict solar behavior turned out to have countless other applications. Around them, the analysis center hummed with activity as scientists processed the wealth of data from the recent event. Each team's findings were shared instantly across the global network, contributing to an ever-growing understanding of their star's behavior. Your entire species has evolved around this challenge, Zix427 observed, her scientific excitement evident in the rapid movement of her tentacles. Every aspect of your civilization reflects it. Your technology, your architecture, your education system, even your art. Cree added, gesturing to the student galleries they had visited earlier. You've turned your star's instability into a source of inspiration rather than fear. Dr. Chen led them to a final display, one showing the growth of human solar science over time. Each generation has built upon the last, adding their own innovations to our understanding. We've learned that the greatest discoveries often come from facing challenges rather than avoiding them. The aliens watched as human scientists continued their work, each new piece of data being analyzed, understood, and integrated into their growing knowledge base. They had come expecting to find a civilization in denial about their star's danger. Instead, they had discovered a species that had turned that very danger into their greatest strength. Perhaps, Cree suggested thoughtfully, we should be learning from you, rather than warning you. Your approach to living with your star has led to developments we never considered possible. That's the thing about challenges, Dr. Williams replied, as another set of promising results appeared on the screens around them. They either break you or transform you. We chose transformation. The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council had never been so quiet. The holographic displays showed Earth's solar defense network in action, replaying the recent Class X solar event and humanity's remarkable response. First Contact Specialist Cree and Senior Astronomer Zix 427 stood before the assembly, presenting their findings to a stunned audience. What you're seeing isn't just a planetary defense system, Cree explained, her hovering platform positioned at the center of the chamber. It's the culmination of centuries of human innovation, driven by their unique relationship with their star. Chief Counselor Marin leaned forward, her ancient form casting shifting shadows. You mean to tell us they not only survived the recent solar event, but actually harvested energy from it? More than that, Zix 427's tentacles moved excitedly as she manipulated the display. They predicted its exact magnitude and behavior hours before our own instruments could detect it. Their understanding of stellar physics exceeds our own in several crucial areas. The chamber erupted in murmurs as the delegates processed this information. Counselor Vex, who had been among the strongest advocates for evacuating Earth, spoke up. How did we miss this? We've been studying stars for millennia. Because we always avoided unstable stars, Cree replied. We saw them as hazards to be avoided, rather than challenges to be understood. The humans took a different approach. The display shifted to show Singapore's Solar Academy, where children learned complex stellar physics as part of their basic education. It then moved through various human cities, showcasing their adaptive architecture, energy collection systems, and public safety measures. They've built their entire civilization around understanding and working with their star, Zix 427 continued. Every challenge it presented became an opportunity for advancement. Their quantum computing, energy systems, and predictive models are unlike anything we've developed. Dr. Chen stepped forward, having been invited to address the council directly. We learned early in our development that running from challenges often costs more than facing them. Our star forced us to innovate, to understand, to adapt. Each solution we developed led to dozens of other advances. The display showed the network of solar research stations stretching from Mercury to beyond Earth's orbit, each one representing a piece of humanity's comprehensive approach to their stellar challenge. But it's more than just technology, Dr. Williams added, joining his colleague. Our relationship with our star has shaped our culture, our education, our very way of thinking. We've learned that sometimes the most dangerous path can also be the most rewarding. Chief Counselor Marin raised her hand, silencing the murmurs in the chamber. What are the implications of these findings for our own stellar science? Cree and Zix 427 exchanged glances before responding. We believe, Cree began carefully, that we need to fundamentally reconsider our approach to stellar systems we previously deemed unsuitable for civilization. The holographic display shifted to show a map of the galaxy, with thousands of stars highlighted in different colors. Each of these points represents a star we classified as too unstable for settlement, Zix 427 explained. But what if, like Earth's sun, they're not just challenges to avoid, but opportunities to embrace? Dr. Chen stepped forward again, her voice carrying clear conviction. We're willing to share our knowledge, our technology, our methods. Perhaps together we can turn these dangerous systems into cradles of innovation for other species. The council chamber buzzed with excited discussion. Delegates who had arrived expecting to plan an evacuation were now considering the possibilities of a whole new approach to stellar science and civilization development. If this is what one species can achieve by embracing their challenges, Counselor Vex mused, his crystalline form shimmering with new understanding, imagine what we could all achieve together. As the council moved to establish new protocols for stellar research and civilization assessment, Dr. Chen smiled at her alien colleagues. Sometimes the most valuable discoveries come from the places others fear to look. And sometimes Cree added, her hovering platform glowing softly in the chamber's light. Those we came to save end up teaching us instead. In the display behind them, Earth's sun flared again, its energy caught and transformed by humanity's innovation, a beacon of possibility for a galaxy learning to see danger not as a barrier, but as an invitation to excel.